Hi everyone, I hope you're good guy and welcome to a new video. So today we're gonna talk about Ableton Hybrid Reverb and I'm gonna explain you a little bit how it works, what each parameter does, how they interact with each other. Alright, so let's dig into it and let's get started. So basically Ableton Hybrid Reverb, it's a combination of two reverb. You have the convolution part and you have the algorithm part. So convolution is more like a kind of natural sounding reverb and algorithm is more like a digital kind of reverb, and they are both together and you can make them interact each other in different way. So the plugin works this way, you read it from the left and the signal go this way to the right. So you have the reverb section, then you have an EQ, and then you have the output. So you can change obviously a couple of things, and in terms of routing, we're gonna cover this later. And yeah, let's start it with this part on the left, and you have first the send, which basically you can see it as how loud you want your wet signal to be. Like for example, I have the wet signal is here, and if I bring it down, see I lose a little bit in terms of loudness of the wet signal, and goes the same here. I have 30% dry signal and I still have 30% dry signal, but then my wet signal now is a bit louder. So I really like this parameter because what I usually like to do is I set my reverb around 30% and I adjust how loud I want my wet signal to be. This is really nice to really be precise and to avoid to have a too messy reverb, you know, especially with this kind of reverb, you can really get a very dense tail of your reverb, and that's a great way to kind of adjust that and avoid to have a too messy reverb tail. Then you have your classic pre-delay, but this is like to delay basically your reverb signal. You can hear it's coming way much after here than when I put at 0, it is straight away coming. Now the good news is you can also put it in sync mode. So basically here is for example coming right off beat and you can sync that, and this is great for example for rumble. So here you have just the kick and that the reverb, and you can hear the rumble is off beat, and it's because of the pre-delay. If I bring this, okay, it's in the same time. Now it's a bit, and having like this is perfectly offbeat, so this is can be nice. But where it gets pretty cool is when you play it with feedback. Basically now you're gonna have a kind of a delay type of effect, because basically it's gonna re-inject the signal and it's gonna kind of create, you hear, especially when you go over 70, you can see it's like, I think like a delay, and it's work as well with millisecond. They are both reacting different, the feedback. And if you go even nuts, you can get sort of metallic delay type. So you can experiment with that as well, it's pretty cool. Then we have two sections, we have so reverb and EQ. So let's focus on the reverb first, where you have your convolution reverb and your algorithm reverb. And basically in the middle here you have your routing. So let's talk about that a little bit before. So everything which is in orange corresponds to the convolution, everything which is blue is the algorithm, and it's work as well here as well for the little cube here. So basically in serial what's happening is here you have your signal who going through the convolution reverb, and then you can see here it's split in two, and one of the signal is going through your algorithm reverb and then to your output, and then there is one which is going straight away to your output, so which is basically staying the convolution reverb itself. And then the blend you can either mix. Here you just have the convolution. Here you just have the stop routing here, so which is basically your convolution going through the algorithm. And then if you put in the middle, you have both a mix of the signal who just go to the convolution and the signal who go to the convolution and the algorithm. Then you have the parallel where you got your original cylinder, which is split in two. One is going to the convolution reverb, one is going to the algorithm reverb, and then you can just blend if you just want parallel, just convolution, or if you want to blend a bit of both. If you just want one or the other, I recommend you have two more here, algorithm, which is going to be just the algorithm, and convolution, which is going to be just the convolution. And yeah, let's just focus on the convolution. We used to have this in Ableton Live 10 with the Max for Live device. You could use it even in Live 9, I think it was. And basically, it's a type of reverb which is based on input response. And basically, it allows you to place your sound in any space that you have the recording for. The cool thing here with the hybrid reverb, you can also import your own samples. So you can either import your own input response, but you can also import more kind of weird sample, either like metallic or more like woody or like a detune weird sound, or you can even like percussion loop. And that's what I'm gonna do. I have this perc loop here, so I'm just gonna import it here. And now what's gonna happen is my reverb is gonna kind of sound like a delay. You can see it's following this. And then to kind of shape your impulse response, you have attack, decay, which are self-explanatory. So attack is gonna kind of create, you can see a fade in, and decay is gonna shorten basically the length of, gonna shorten your sound. And then you have size, which is quite interesting. I don't exactly know what it does, but it's kind of stretching the sample. So if you check here in the corner, you have the time here is 7 seconds. But if I go at 500, it kind of became 35 seconds. So which means like your sample is, instead of lasting 7 seconds, it lasts 35 seconds. So basically now what it's gonna do is gonna play the response a little bit slower. So you're gonna see, we're gonna play and it's gonna 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And if I go at 200, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you go at 100, it plays at the normal speed. That was the original sample. And then you can go even down, kind of getting granular feeling. So that can be nice as well to experiment with different kind of perc look, different kind of size. And obviously you can import other type of sample. Like I said, you can import like maybe something more metallic. So here I have this sample, which is basically just a ride. And I've imported as well in the reverb. And so that's classic reverb. But then you have with this ride here, and you can change the size, kind of change the tone of the reverb as well. So that's something pretty cool to experiment with. Now you can pick up a more classic type of reverb. So then you have decay and size, which both gonna affect the length of your tail basically. If you want something longer, but then you can shorter with the decay. But one thing that size does is affect as well the tone of the reverb. Rather than the decay just change the length, but the size. You see it sounds different. Rather than the decay just make it longer or shorter. Alright, and now let's jump into the algorithm section. So now we have like 5 different algorithms, and we have the dark hole, which is kind of a smoothing kind of classic reverb basically. And we have quite a few parameters, but you're gonna see most of them, they are available for all of the algorithms, so you kind of learn them quickly. And you have some which are pretty much standard, such as the decay, which obviously gonna set the decay of your reverb. Size as well is kind of a classic one. So size, the more you go down, the more you go to kind of a small room and very resonant, and the more you go up around 100%, the more you get something like a large and natural room. See, like very resonant and very large and natural. So usually it's everything which is under 50 feel resonant, everything which is upper 50% feel more like natural. And then you have damping, which is gonna attenuate the high frequency. It's basically a kind of a high chef, which is gonna, you see, don't kind of make it sound muffled. So shape work a little bit similar to size, I would say. It's kind of, again, if you go close to 0, you're gonna have something resonant and metallic. So again, you can play with size, both together, they will interact. And then you have bass multiplier, which is basically so here you got a lot of frequency, so it can be nice for drone or even for rumble. And then here you have the bass X, which is basically the crossover. And then you had mod, which is kind of acting like a chorus, it's like modulation, but so again, this can be nice for pad or for drone or anything. And then you have delay, which is, you can also, again, delay the signal on top of your pre-delay. All right, the next one is Quartz, which is kind of a reverb, but echo as well in the same time. So if you put, you can set that to hear the echo, and you have decay, which controls the length. And size gonna basically control this kind of echo effect. So again, it's gonna act like smaller to 0 is gonna be like a resonant small room, and the upper you go, the more it's gonna be like a large room and more natural, less resonant. But here, what's gonna happen is gonna as well change this kind of echoey delay effect that you can hear. You can hear like it's kind of a ping pong delay, and the time is changing. But the thing is, this is as well very much affected by this distance knob here. So basically here what it's gonna do is this echoey effect, distance is gonna, at 0 it's gonna be more like in the front, and the more you go to 100%, the more it's gonna be a bit further. So you see already like was more in the front. You can see it start to get a bit further. But again, if I change the size, you see how it's changing completely. So it's quite unpredictable, which is I kind of like, because you can really get different results. And there is one weird thing. So if I put the imager, okay, so check how it's respond here. Okay, everything normal. I go until 99. Okay, I still have like a kind of weird shape, but it's fine. But then if I go at 100%, I got a straight mono signal, and I don't know why, but if anyone has an explanation, feel free to leave it in the comment. So this is really nice, and on top of that, you have this diffusion parameter as well, which is gonna kind of make your tail a little bit more dense, but it's gonna as well affect how this echoey effect responds. So the more you're gonna put diffusion, the more you're gonna get something, a tail which is dense, but the less you're gonna hear as well this delay kind of echoey effect. You still hear the first one, but then you doesn't hear really the end of the tail. So if you stay around under 20%, you still have a bit both of them. Then you have your mod, which is same kind of chorus effect. And then you have damping and low damp, which is, but damping is the same than the previous one. It's gonna reduce your high frequency. So the higher the value, the darker it gets. You see, very bright, a bit darker. And obviously the low damp is the opposite. Here you don't have that much low frequency, and here you have all of your low frequency, and the more you go up, you get a bit less low frequency on your tail. And then again you have the delay. There is freeze as well, I haven't talked about it, but if you're familiar with the previous reverb, it's the same. You can kind of but the cool thing, you can now have freeze input as well. You see, here I'm playing different notes, but the input doesn't change. But if I press here, I can play a new chord, and it will take into consideration. So here again can be interesting because it's kind of an echoey delay kind of reverb to play with the pre-delay and the feedback as well to get even like more kind of weird delay and stuff. So then we have our shimmer. You got the more or less the same kind of parameter that you had. You have the decay, the size, the diffusion, the mode with the damping, which are exactly the same thing that I explained before. Here again, the size is gonna create a kind of echoey. So it's quite very interesting how it comes. And then you have pitch, which is gonna basically adjust the degree of pitch shifting, and shimmer, which is gonna apply this kind of pitch it. And you can control this, go down. This can be nice, for example, for kind of a drone. And again, you can more dense tail, add some chorus, and you can get nice vibe for drones or even like probably for pads. If you go a bit upper, then you can play. Really nice for pads or ambience or drone kind of stuff. Really like this one as well. So then we have tight, which is kind of a classic reverb, but where you can kind of modulate the tail and kind of applying a LFO, and I would even say like autopan. It's basically like if you had like autopan, where you can kind of modulate the phase and the stereo. So you have autopan here. If you're not familiar, you know autopan, you can like modulate the left and right. You can control the rate, the phase, and basically all of these parameters is what you got here. Tide is basically your amount of modulation. Rate is obviously is gonna be the rate, and phase here 180 obviously is the same. It means like it's completely out of phase rather than 90%. It's more like this. And then you have waves. So this is basically the waveform which corresponds to this basically. And you can go from 0% is noise. At 50%, you have more like a kind of a sine wave. And then at 100%, you have a square waveform. And this is quite interesting to add movement. It's kind of like if you was putting an autopan at the end of your reverb, but it works better than if you just do like this. So let me show you. If I put more, you can hear how it adds a lot of movement. And obviously you can put more like a sine waves, change the rate to kind of have change the phase as well. And then you have Prism, which is kind of a more classic digital reverb. This kind of reverb, I will use it, for example, if I use convolution to kind of give a bit of color to my sound, but I don't want to put too much amount because it can get messy with convolution reverb. So I will use a small amount of convolution, and I will use after, for example, the Prism to kind of put it more in the space, kind of a mixing purpose, give a bit of breath. So you have decay, which is controlling the length, size as well, small, resonant, big, more lighter. And then you have low multiplier, high multiplier, which is controlling the tail of the low frequency or the high frequency of your reverb. And then a crossover to determine which frequency is between these two. So let's say you want 1 kilo. So you can hear how here the low frequency, it's very long, the tail. Rather than here is super short, and same with the high, very short, and then it stays longer. And then again, delay and freeze. All right, and then the next section is the EQ, which is basically basic EQ. So you have 4 points, so you can have like a low shelf or low cut, and you can control the slope, having something very 6 dB or more something like rough like 96, control the frequency. And then you have 2 bell kind of point where you can boost or cut. And then again with the fourth, it's like a high shelf. And you can put your EQ before the algorithm. So you can see here, basically the point change if I deactivate it. See now it's after. Same goes on the serial. You can see here the point is after, but if I could pre-algorithm, it is now before the algorithm reverb. And then you have your output, so the stereo is controlled. The stereo, obviously something at 0%, you have something very mono. At 200%, you have something more wide. Vintage is kind of destroying the sound, kind of making it a bit lo-fi. And then you can put your bass, I think it's under 180 in mono. And yeah, and then you dry wet. That's pretty much it. So now I'm gonna show you a couple of presets I've made with. I will put this preset for free, the link in the description as usual. And you have like, I try to create kind of different, more long, more short, more a bit weird. So here I got it going out hat. Maybe with hat it sounds better. So here is like the Quartz, more echoey reverb. It's a bit more like rich, maybe for pad or drone. To be honest, I've made a lot, and it's in the process that over time I will start to shorten my list. You can see I already made the pre-selection. Here I use the Shimmer pitch down, like this is nice for big drone. And yeah, it's just like stuff I created when I was experimenting. Obviously there is too many which are too similar, but again, I will make the selection over time, over the year, which one are my favorite, to kind of shorten the list because it's too many. But it's great as well to have a nice big selection. So all these presets, I will put the link in the description. They're available for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe before to download them. And thank you very much for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye bye.